you are suffering from GERD, acid reflux, LPR, regurgitation, anything that has to do with GERD, watch this video. And I promise you, this is not a clickbait. I don't really like to do all these clickbaits. I actually like to help people. And I promise you that whatever process you're at when it comes to this GERD issues, you will benefit in some way, shape, or form from my experience and the information that I'm about to provide. Now, about 3 years ago, I think, in my channel, I made a video called "If You Are Considering GERD Procedures, Watch This Video," and I talked about some of the things that you trade when you get a surgery, right? Some of the things that you give away, and some of the things you bring in from the surgery, because you might be trading one symptom for another, and that symptom that you're trading will probably be worse than the symptoms you originally had. And the reason why I'm making this video, it's to keep you guys, first of all, updated, and also give you some perspective as to where I'm at in my journey and the things that I've gone through. I've updated you guys in many different ways through my videos, but I'm gonna give you just an overall perspective of what's been going on and all this whole journey of my GERD issues. And recently, I had actually yesterday, I had a kind of like a second opinion from a doctor that has so much experience, and it was just it was really good talking to him when we got into a deep conversations when it came to my issues. But I want you guys to hear all of this, because if you're suffering from this, whether you're trying to consider for the surgery, or maybe you don't want to, you're indecisive, hopefully it helps you, come to a decision, maybe take different routes when it comes to your GERD issues, maybe look at it a different way, in a different light, where it can help you. By the way, I'm not sure if I want to turn this to a podcast episode, but I probably will. So if you listen to my podcast, don't forget to always like, comment, subscribe. We're all available in every platform. But let's get into the video. So yesterday, as I spoke, I met with a surgeon, and this is really cool, by the way, and I'm gonna give this to you right away, which is I thought was so awesome. I met with a surgeon that had a LINX procedure just like myself, and he also does LINX procedures and gastro procedures, Nissen fundoplications and whatnot, just like myself. And I was just like, yo, that is so cool, because you rarely find doctors who practice a certain type of procedures and that it's done on themselves as well. Does that make sense? And I was just like, yo, this is cool. And guess who did his procedure? The doctor that did my procedure, Dr. Daniel Smith. And I thought that was such a coincidence, so cool. And that just gave me a lot of peace that I made the right choice when it came to having my LINX procedure with Dr. Daniel Smith here in Atlanta. It just made me feel like I did a good job doing my research, right? I always tell you guys, do your research when it comes to having procedures and surgeries, because the only thing you can control is the doctor that you probably will do the procedure with, right? I know sometimes, monetary things can get in the way, and sometimes you have no choice as to where you go. But if you do have an option, then that's something that you can control, and you can try to look and research and ask questions, right? So the reason I went to this doctor was just because recently I made a video that I was suffering a lot from, like, the chest issues, the chest tightness, which I think was due from the procedures that I had, the hiatal hernia repairs. And I had, first of all, just to give you a little bit backstory, I had the Nissen fundoplication with the mesh back in 2017. After the surgery, I felt like the surgery helped me a little bit, but towards the end, after 2 years, it was literally harming me more than it was helping me, right? And I had to get that undone, and I had to search for a new surgeon in the Atlanta area, that's how I found Dr. Daniel Smith. We took the Nissen fundoplication down, we took the mesh out, and he implanted the LINX, and I've been having the LINX ever since. So I met with the doctor because I've been having these issues, right? And Dr. Daniel Smith, most of the time, if not all the time, he just concentrates on surgeries, right? So if you're going to have a surgery, then he's the person you go to. He's not the type of GI doctor that's gonna help you manage your symptoms to a day-to-day basis. If that makes sense, he's just concentrates on surgeries, right, and procedures. And one of the things he told me, one of this doctor time around, he was like, him and Dr. Smith typically concentrate on a lot of revision surgeries, right? Which again is very comforting because I went to Dr. Smith for revision surgeries, and unfortunately, there's a lot of doctors that don't perform that surgery very well. So I went to him, and this information I didn't know until I obviously I met with him, and I just told him I was like, I just want to get a second opinion, or maybe get a maybe some advice, or what do you think at the stage where I'm at? What else can I do? And by any means, I was not trying to second guess what Dr. Smith had told me because I believed him. I think he's great. If anything, I even told him straight to his face. I said, "You saved my life because the Nissen fundoplication was killing me. I was literally dying. I was only able to sleep 3 hours a day. I mean, 3 hours per night. I was waking up in the middle all the time. So much pressure, so much pain. I couldn't even walk a couple blocks because my heart was racing, and everything was involved with the first surgery that I had. And eventually, once he performed that second surgery on me, eventually I ended up getting a little bit of my life back where I can at least manage it, right? Well, this is the part where I'm at now with the managing. Unfortunately, I was only able to manage right now up to this point because now I started suffering from the chest tightness, the shortness of breath. One of my CT scans showed that I had stomach inflammation, and that was not the most ideal thing, but it was it was the lining of the stomach that was inflamed. And I've also been having these issues of like a lot of acid production, or at least acid sensation in my stomach, which is different from the acid reflux that I felt. It kind of feels more along the lines of what people describe as gastritis. And um, it's just this burning in my stomach, this sensation. I ended up going to the ER several times. Actually, the last time I went to the ER was about like 3 weeks ago because I was having pain in my abdomen area. I was having pain with gas and the bloating, and it was just so uncomfortable. And I'm like, I at least want to make sure that things are okay. And this is just a part of, again, maybe secondary effects from surgeries. Maybe I haven't been taking care of myself the best way that I could. And, my stomach, since it's more sensitive, then I'm suffering from that. Who knows? So now when I was talking to this, the surgeon, he was, pretty straightforward. I tried to give him as much information as I could. And all in all, we had a really good conversation, I felt like. I just wanted to hear from somebody else with a lot of experience, like if there is anything that else I can do. Because one of my main issues, I wanted to see if my hiatal hernia repair was the one causing, my shortness of breath. But he did tell me that there could be a lot of factors, and the bloating, the gas. Also, he mentioned my weight. He said that my height should be weighing around 180, 185 pounds. But if you do have some muscle, I guess, you can, 200 pounds, right? And I was like, well, I didn't think I don't think I'm overweight, but I'm definitely not the way I should be. Does that make sense? Because I've always been around this weight. I always carried myself in this area. But he said that, it would be a good idea if I lost some weight, if I did a little bit more of, exercise if I could and take care of myself. I'm going to tell you something and this is why I made this video. There's going to get to a point that if you've had surgeries and if you've had procedures and you go run into several good doctors, they will be honest with you and they'll tell you, listen, at this point, it is what it is. Now, they don't tell you that exactly in that exact same way, but it is what it is. Like after suffering and after getting a lot of testings done, after getting, for example, I had an endoscopy in February, right? And Dr. Smith, he didn't find any problems with me. He said that the LINX looks good, my stomach, my esophagus looks good, and I trust him. I trust him because he has so much experience, and he's seen what a bad stomach looks like, what a bad LINX looks like, and the LINX, according to him, looks right where it should be. Right? I had a pH manometry study done. He also told me that the amount of times that I'm refluxing, it's not necessarily acid reflux. It's other gastric juices, but that's what the monitor caught more than anything else. My barium swallow doesn't come out anything crazy. So a lot of things are just pointing to things are not perfect, but they're okay. And from their experience, you know, things are good and there's not much they can do about it. And this is why I say it is what it is. Like, this is where my life is at. And it's a tough pill to swallow. I mean, this is a tough one to swallow because you do want to do better and you do want to be better, especially recently where I've been suffering from a lot of, again, the acid, the bloating, the chest pressure. By the way, the lump in the throat feeling, I've been constantly having that, which is such a scary feeling to have that constantly. It sucks, right? It really sucks. So I've been back on PPIs. I'm when I went to the ER, they gave me sulcrafate, I think the name is, to try to help with like the stomach lining. So if you do have any ulcers or anything that's damaging your stomach, then it can kind of heal them. But now, I have apparently like some type of reaction to these medications because I'm feeling like very itchy when I'm taking these medications. And I was trying to figure out what was going on, but my doctor told me that they could cause some type of itching and some type of reaction. And I was like, allergic reaction. I was like, dang. So now I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to be at with, different things. But, after talking to the surgeon and kind of getting like, hey, man, first of all, he gave me a little hope in the sense of like, I can do certain things. I can do lose weight, which is, I would love. I think that's something that I'm okay with doing and I'm down to do. I'm actually very disciplined when it comes to things like that. So I would love to, lose around 15, 20 pounds. I weigh about 225, 220. Sometimes I'll fluctuate to 230, but that's, my natural weight. I weighed myself today and I weighed at 220. So, if I lose 15, 20 more pounds, I should be in that range because I'm also not just scrawny. Like, I do have a little bit, muscles in me. So I think that would be a good way to at least to take the pressure off my abdomen because, all the I think it's visceral fat or something. What is it called? I'm botching that. But I do have, fat in my stomach and around my abdomen, which would be good if I lost. He did have a point, I'm not sure if this is going to, help me tremendously, but it's something that I can do on my end and that I look forward to doing. So it's probably something that I will do, end up losing weight slowly but surely, because right now I'm not hitting the gym. I'm not doing a lot of exercise because of everything that I've gone through. And also on my end, since I know that gas and bloating is a big issue, I'm going to try to see if I am able to do anything with my natural medicine doctor, right? My holistic doctor, to see if there's anything we can do for it. We did talk about a bacteria that causes a lot of gas that we saw on my test results. Although he told me to take some medication, but the pills were too big for me to swallow, so I couldn't even do that. So we're going to try to find another options to do it. He told me to take oregano oil, but oregano oil is so strong, homie. It's so strong. So I got to go back to him. I'm going to do some blood work because I do have an appointment to do some blood work and just an extensive blood work to see what else we can fix, at least to get to optimal level, so things can be functioning right. And then we can keep concentrating on the little things. And I will tell you, again, part of the reason why I made this video again is because remember when I told you trade one symptom for another when it comes to having GERD procedures sometimes? Well, gas is one of them for me. Like gas and bloating after having procedures, it's been bad. I mean, every time I eat, I get gassy, right? And luckily for me with the LINX, I'm able to burp. But when I had the Nissen, I wasn't able to burp. I wasn't able to even vomit. So now at least I do get to burp with the LINX. And with the Nissen, I never really could. So I even felt more bloated than ever. It was just a constant thing. But after even having the LINX, I still get bloated. Unfortunately, my intestines feel full. And sometimes, your gas comes out pretty easily. But even after you pass some gas, it still keeps building, throughout the day or throughout the time before your next meal. It still keeps building up. And you have to release that gas, because if it gets trapped, then more gas keeps building up in your stomach and your intestines, and it becomes to the point where it's painful and it hurts and it bothers you in all sorts of way. So that's unfortunate, right? Something to always consider when it comes to surgeries. Now, I really wish people have asked me before, do you regret having your procedures? Now, I don't regret making the decisions of having procedures because I wanted to be healed, except I do admit that I was naive. I trusted the procedures. I trusted the surgeon that I was going to get fixed and quote unquote give my life back, which a lot of us make that mistake, right? We as humans don't like suffering. And that's the reason we make a lot of impulsive decisions. And for me, I made an impulsive decision to go with the Nissen. I didn't do my research on maybe the LINX or finding another surgeon, right? Giving it time. I was told by a chiropractor when I went to California, don't do the Nissen because it can mess you up more. Try to keep on, having doctors like ours. But they were expensive. So I'm like, I'm a college student right now. And I can't be affording all this stuff, So because of that, I went with the Nissen. And to this point, if you were to ask me this question again, I would say I regret doing the Nissen. And I think maybe I wish the doctor would have done a better job, because when I went with Dr. Smith, he told me that my stomach from the inside out looked like a bottle cap, like it was twisted, and the fundus where you're supposed to tighten it around your esophagus, it was too long. There was too many stitches. It should have been like 2 or 3. It's because it's supposed to be a couple maybe centimeters or inches. I don't know. But it was just way too long, and then that stomach was just wrapped. And I've shown pictures of this on many videos, how it looked, and it was just like bad, and no wonder I'm over here feeling like I'm dying. And on top of that, the mesh that was implanted, and by the way, mesh is used so when you have a hernia, that muscle can be supported and you won't have a reoccurrence of the hernia, right? Essentially, that's what it's supposed to do. Well, for me, that mesh messed me up in the chest area so much more than it helped me. And the only reason I even had the mesh implanted with the repair was because I was having the surgery anyways, right? But I had a small hiatal hernia. It was like, I don't remember how many centimeters, maybe 4 or 5 or something like that. I don't know. It wasn't anything crazy that, I needed to get the surgery. But the reason I even had that done was because to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, I was already having the Nissen fundoplication, so I might as well take care of that as well, right? And I wasn't aware of how much that would have changed my life. And that part I regret. It sucks and I regret it. But there's nothing I can do about it now, right? Luckily, when Dr. Smith went inside, he saw that the mesh, he took it out. He doesn't work with mesh because he doesn't really believe in it. He's seen how much damage and, I guess maybe how not effective it is. And he was like, no, I'm going to remove that mesh. Although I will mention he wasn't able to remove all the mesh because there was some mesh that was attached to some blood vessels that he was just concerned if he, started messing with it, he could just cause more bleeding in the surgery, and he was just gonna, avoid that, which is understandable. But for the most part, he took most of it out, and he just put sutures on it. And the sutures still to this day, from the CT scans that I've done and all the testings, they look good still to this day, which I wish I would have done from the beginning, right? But I didn't know. I had, no idea that this was gonna cause me so much more pain and suffering than I would have liked up to this point. And on top of that, the mesh was actually there was an adhesion to my liver, so it was literally like connected to my liver. So Dr. Smith had to remove that as well because it was getting attached to my organs. Like imagine that mesh, a hiatal hernia that was a couple centimeters. Because of that, now I'm having to deal with all this crap. Very unfortunate, right? Very unfortunate. And this is why I tell you from the beginning of this video, you're gonna want to watch this video because I'm very honest, I'm transparent, and also I want you guys, if you've already gone through this process and you're suffering, well, I'm here with you, man. I'm here with you and I'm suffering with you. And if you haven't yet, consider your options, right? Learn from people like me. I'm not saying that my way is the way. No, this is no way medical advice. I'm not telling you not to get the surgery. In my original video that I was referring to, people were like, why are you giving medical advice? Why are you telling people not to do it? Why are you not, or not getting the surgery? And I'm like, brother, that has nothing to do with this. First of all, you obviously haven't seen my channel because if you knew, you would know who I am and what I stand for. So I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm not telling you to do certain things. I just want you as a human being to learn from other people's mistakes, right? Have some wisdom in the people that have gone through certain things. So then you can consider your options, right? This is one of the things that I've always told you guys, search for the good surgeons, right? That you can control, like as I told you earlier. And also find your best option. See if you can heal yourself naturally first before, go under the knife. And if push comes to shove and the only option is for you to get surgery, then at least do your research, right? Don't be naive. Look into those options as well and then get the best surgery that's for you. That's how it should go. It shouldn't be the all the way around. Get the surgery first and then find out how else you're going to take care of yourself after, your stomach has been cut open and your abdomen has been cut open and you've gone through all this crap. Something like I have. And it's unfortunate, but again, it is what it is. And I'm in the point where I'm just like, coming out of the meeting with him, it's just a reality check. Like, listen, this is what you got, right? And he was truthful in the sense of like, the LINX looks great. The abdomen, your stomach look good. In the sense of like when I get the CT scan done, it doesn't look like you have anything wrong. But obviously there's some gas, there's some bloating. And, I even mentioned to him, what about the stomach inflammation? And he was like, that's what he said, that it was a stomach inflammation, like the other doctor? And he was like, your stomach doesn't, because I had the endoscopy in February and I had this exam in May, I think. And he was like, your stomach just doesn't change that quickly for it to be anything major. Does that make sense? Because when Dr. Smith went in and he saw my stomach, he saw everything was good. And obviously there wasn't any signs of anything that's crazy. Could my stomach be a little bit inflamed? Sure. But again, I'm suffering from all these other things. Like it's part of, it is what it is, although don't get me wrong, I still get checked. I'm very preventive and all this good stuff, but it is what it is. And one of the things I wanted to mention, I don't know if I mentioned this in my YouTube channel, when I went to Dr. Smith the last time and I thanked him for what he had done and he continues to do with myself and the things that I've gone through. I was like, hey, Dr. Smith, I talk about you very well on my channel. And there's actually has been a lot of people that have come to you to get a surgery. And, they had looked into you to at least, consider having surgery. And he laughed and he was like, well, maybe that's why I've been busy. And that was just a good interaction, that I don't like to, put kind of his business out there. But I do, on my end, I feel like he was very as well. He was truthful with me. We talk, and if I get another surgery procedure and he's still active in the future for whatever reason, I'll definitely go to him, or actually this doctor that I saw now. And I don't even know his name right now. The doctor, great. I forgot what his name was because this is the first time I saw him, and I was just trying to get a second opinion. So I wasn't anything like, And then yesterday, after I had a conversation with him, you just left blank. You're just like, damn, Like, you don't know what to think, if I'm being honest. I didn't know what to think after having this conversation. But I can tell, man, that he was a straight shooter. He was straightforward. I mean, to some extent, you know, I feel like he told me to stop bitching. I don't want to. I don't want to say that. But I'm just like, sometimes you gotta suck it up, right? And I think that's the tough part. Hearing the, bro, you got to do what you got to do now. There's not much, because if you go in and try to fix something that it's already to its optimal potential, you might mess something up and something else might mess it up. He was honest in this. He said, if you keep looking for answers and second opinions, people are going to want to do something. And you don't want that. You don't want another surgeon to be like, oh, well, let me just go ahead and find what's wrong. And he tries to touch something that's maybe not even wrong, or maybe was fixed already and it's messed up afterwards, if that makes sense. So I'm like, yeah, he has a point. You can't do anything but respect that and kind of honor that. I'm like, okay, I appreciated that. But at this moment, again, I'm gonna take care of the things that he told me. Sorry, I'm burping, guys. By the way, the LINX. I'm burping. I'm gonna take care of the weight loss, slowly but surely. I'm not gonna put myself in anything strenuous. I'm just gonna slowly but surely, eat better, continue to eat better, continue to see my natural medicine doctors to see what else we can do in a natural side. Continue to check for some blood work, to see that at least everything is going well and nothing else is being done. I will go talk to my general physician to see if I can get tested for, because this surgeon that I talked to yesterday, he did mention that maybe there might be, so your gallbladder could be producing bile into your stomach, and I'm gonna do more research on that. And also in the sense of, let me see if I can do or eat some foods to see, or drink, or something. Find some answers to see what helps with bile reflux, because it could be a case as well. And he acknowledged that. He was like, he also was honest. You don't want to just remove your gallbladder and then not be your issue. And I'm like, you have a point. But the gallbladder has been brought up to me several times, guys. After I had, in 2020, I had an endoscopy done by Dr. Smith, because we were trying to figure out why the LINX wasn't working up to what we expected, right? And there was a nurse that obviously checked what was going on with me, and she said, you should look into your gallbladder, because the gallbladder is the silent killer. And I said, at the moment, I was still waking up, but I remember her words. And when I was heading home, I was thinking about that. I'm like, what if it is my gallbladder? What if it is something that's causing my acid to be worse? Who knows? Do I want to take my gallbladder out right now? No, but I would love to kind of like manage it and do more testings to see if my gallbladder is causing this episode of acid that I'm having, right? And to see if I can do anything about that, whether it's through my diet, maybe through some supplements. I'm gonna bring this back to another doc, to my natural medicine doctor, and we'll talk about it. Just to manage my health. And if this is what it is, then let it be it. But I'm still gonna continue to do my part of my end to take care of myself, right? So I can do better and be better. Let me mention another thing that just popped into my head, that it's good information for you guys to have. This past surgeon, whose name shall not be mentioned because I don't remember. But he told me something that was pretty cool. He said that when you suffer from H. pylori, because he asked me about the H. pylori bacteria, and he was like, have you suffered from it? And I was like, yes. In 2018, I suffered from H. pylori. I got diagnosed, and that was taken care of. And ever since then, it hasn't came back yet. Although it's bacteria, so it can linger around for years. And he wanted to test me for that, at least to make sure that it wasn't H. pylori. But what happens is, when you suffer from, this is, I'm paraphrasing what he said. When you're suffering from H. pylori, then since you're suffering because of the H. pylori, whether it can be the ulcers, stomach inflammation, your body doesn't produce as much acid because it knows that your stomach is damaged. Crazy, right? Have you ever heard that like the stomach has another brain? It's like your second brain, right? Have you ever noticed when you get nervous or worried or anxious and you feel that gut feeling? It's to me it's real, man. That gut feeling, it's real and you feel it in your gut. So I was like, okay. And he was like, well, why do you think when you heal the H. pylori, then naturally more acid is produced to your stomach because now it's healed? And I was like, damn. So sometimes when you get healed from H. pylori, your stomach might produce the acid again that you should have been producing before during the H. pylori, right? Because it produces less during the H. pylori, and once you heal it, once you kill that bacteria, then your lining and your stomach is in better shape and better health, then your body, your stomach produces the acid that it should have been in the first place, so you can feel more reflux. And he explained to me that could also be a case with me when it comes to these issues. Why my stomach could be doing this, or it could have been doing this, and I didn't even know about it, right? And me wondering why is it that I have all this, all these acid episodes. Who knows? But at least we're trying to get things, taken care of in that sense. I'm going to continue to keep meeting with my doctors to try to put two and two together, to try to see what helps me the most. Again, losing weight, I know that can help. I'm going to look into things that can help me with my gas, my bloatiness, so I can avoid the pressure. Because look, and I know this is a long video, but I'm dropping dimes here, guys. I'm dropping bombs. I mean, I'm talking major information that, first of all, that I've experienced, one that I've had to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for, and that I've heard from doctors, right? And just knowledge of what's happening with me. But I did want to mention something else that I have mentioned in another video, but we're going to put it together here in one packet for you guys, all for free. Or if you're enjoying the content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. But so the LINX, there's a certain amount of pressure that the LINX has when it's implanted into your body. That's the reason you need to do the manometry study, also the pH impedance test, and to see the barium swallow. The doctors want to see if you qualify for a LINX, because you need to have enough pressure from your esophagus. When you swallow, those muscles need to create pressure so the LINX can open, so then food can pass through it and you're able to swallow. It's important, but there's another part to this. Your stomach also creates pressure, and that pressure needs to be lower than the pressure that's being created by your esophagus muscles, right? When it opens your sphincter. So to give you a better understanding, the pressure from the esophagus needs to be higher than the LINX so it can open, but it needs to also be, the LINX pressure needs to be higher than the stomach pressure so it can remain closed. So you won't have the regurgitation, the acid, the GERD, right? But also what happens, and we talked about this with the doctor yesterday, he said that if you are suffering from gas and bloating, or at least if you have, I should say, if you have stomach pressure, if you are overweight, right? If there's a lot of fat around your stomach and all your organs, that creates more pressure in your abdomen, which creates more pressure in your stomach, and it could cause you to create more pressure in the LINX, which is greater than what the LINX can support, causing you to have acid reflux and regurgitation, which makes sense. The math does math right here. And this is the reason why I'm going to concentrate on the reducing of my fat in my belly, the trying to make sure that my stomach is not inflamed or inflamed so that pressure can be lower. Concentrate on my gas and bloating. Hopefully I can work something that I can manage so it won't be excessive, right? I don't know what that is yet. I'll keep you guys posted. And on top of that, maybe see if I need to do exercises constantly for the diaphragmatic area so I won't have that pressure constantly and I won't go through another shortness of breath episode where I thought that was my last day, ladies and gentlemen. No more Carlos for you guys. And that was a very scary moment. So trying to see if I can help in any way with the anatomy of my diaphragm, right? That is where I'm at the moment. If anything happens or changes, I will let you guys know for sure. But man, I just dropped a lot of information to you guys, and I hope in any way, if you're listening to this again, that you're listening to my experience. Of course, listen, do your research. It's on you. Do your research. Ultimately, the decision is on you. Don't blame it on me. Don't blame it on your doctor. So doctors sometimes they do, surgeons unfortunately they do push surgery, but a good surgeon would give you the right options, and he'll be honest with you. And that's the importance of having done your research, right? Do your research, see if you can, do yourself, see what if you can do naturally before anything else. And hopefully, it can help you eventually make a decision, learn from my experiences, learn from the people that, other videos that you watch or things that you read. It's your job to put things together and work from them. You know what I mean? So now I have another task in my hand. It's a big mountain that I have to climb, and we don't know how that's gonna go, but we're gonna, ride it out. I think these are moments. Some of you guys, you might not be believers or have faith in any way, but I do have faith, and who knows if God is testing me with my health issues and test my faith. The Bible talks about suffering well and being able to suffer well. So when you're suffering, still remember that God is there for you. Remember that, you're fighting from victory and not for victory, because the battle has already been won. And at the moment, those Bible verses and those stories you hear in the Bible, they're hard because you're actually going through the storm. And it's not easy to have faith in these moments. But this is where you got to have faith the most. This is where you got to, whatever you learn and you've heard, you got to put that into practice, right? Little by little, step by step. And I choose to believe that it's gonna be better. It's gonna be there's light at the end of this tunnel, and it might be just an episode that I'm going through, and I'm making maybe this video for the person that's watching, right? From the person that is suffering, or maybe has a family member suffering, a friend, whoever it may be. For you guys, who knows? But use your story to affect other people in life, right? Because you can't take anything else with you, man. You really can't. You leave your legacy behind, and what you did with your life matters. So if you're going through a lot of stuff, hey, we gotta keep our faith. It's not easy, but just know that you're not alone. You're not suffering alone, and hopefully you guys learned something from my experience. So I'm gonna leave it at that, guys. I know I've talked a lot, and I was a little bit all over the place with a lot of things, but it's just a lot of information. I wanted to make this video, first of all, because I haven't created content in a while. But, my podcast is, if I feel decent, they're going to keep happening. I love making content. I love making podcasts, learning from people, lifelong learner, So I love all of that. I'm going to create more content for you guys as much as I can. And just hopefully you guys are doing good. Don't forget to take care of each other, take care of your family, prepare yourself for the holidays. And yeah, God bless you guys. Take care, and see you guys on the next one, man. As always, paz y amor, familia. See you guys. Deuce.